seen it.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. On the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Here talking about year-end tax planning with Lexi Law Dog, Adam Tostado, and Shannon Roberta San Antonio. Oh, how precious. Adam's dogs are what breed again?
Shih Tzu poodles.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Lexi is looking forward to a beauty day. She's looking a bit shaggy, just like me, I guess. Maybe it's no shave for her, too.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk about some other year-end strategies. Tell us, Adam, get on your soapbox. Tell us, what do people really need to know?
Well, there's, if people have IRAs, and so IRAs are great if, you're saving some money on your personal W-2, you have it go into an IRA. But IRAs, they kind of lost their fame because back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, if you put in money into an IRA, you saved 5%, and when it came out, you're owing 5%. Now, you'll save 5%. That did not change, or 5 or 10%. You're saving that, but when it comes out, you're owing 20%. And so it doesn't quite work out very well. And so I have a lot of people where we're like, okay, let's start converting IRAs to a Roth IRA. You'll pay the taxes, but the money's going to go into a Roth IRA, so you'll earn the money back in the interest over time, and so you'll be made whole again, and then it just keeps going. So people will say...
It grows tax-free,
yeah,
right?
But also the difference between the IRA and the Roth IRA is that once it goes into the Roth IRA, you can pull it out tax-free. So we're good. So
After you retire.
If you're of retirement age or over, you can pull it out with no problem. And so that's great. But how much can we roll over? Those questions, I usually work with financial planners, and we look at their tax return, because you can't give them a solid number because it depends how much income they made on their 1040. So if you have somebody making $100,000 and they paid the taxes based on $100,000, but now you convert $100,000, now your income is $200,000, and they didn't pay the taxes. So now you're going to hurt because you have to pay extra taxes, and they're going to be like, well, Adam, you told me to convert this.
Yeah.
Well, the conversion is great, but for tax purposes, it's not so great, So we always want to see how much have we paid in taxes, how much your revenue is, and then take that and say, okay, this is how much you can convert, and your refund will go down to zero, but you won't owe anything. Oh, okay. And that's something that you work with your financial planner and with the tax preparer. You put them together, and they work out the numbers. Okay, so but it's a delicate balance between W-2s, and it's just not one person's W-2. You have to count the W-2 that's the taxpayer makes and their spouse. Put those together, see what tax bracket you're in, and then see how much you're willing to go before you get to the next tax bracket. And so that leads me into people jumping into the next tax bracket. That's when you consult with the tax professional, because then you could say, what's my tax bracket now? Okay, we'll say it's 18%. Then what's my next tax bracket, and how much can I make more before I touch that tax bracket? So sometimes it's $30,000, $40,000. Sometimes it could be $100,000. But there's a break in that tax bracket that I'm not sure what the number is, but it goes from 20% to 26%. Every other tax bracket is an increment of 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
But this one is the biggest one, and that's the middle class. So, okay, I made this much money, but if I make $100 more, I jump into the next tax bracket. And so they're like, well, wait a minute, Adam, you told me it was okay, but no, we have to look at that too. And that's why
everybody's going to be different. So you need to talk to somebody face to face And so they know your individual situation.
Yeah, because you can, and the thing is that my problem is that you can Google all of this stuff, okay? And so why do I need you if I can Google this? But the problem with Google or the internet in general is how accurate is the information that you're getting, okay? So when you're looking at a website and you're getting tax information, you need to look at the meta of that website and see when was this last posted. Because they won't tell you on the website that this was posted 5 years ago. Well, guess what? Are taxes the same from 5 years ago? No. And so the information that's posted, they might not even update it. And so now you're working with old information. You're going to make life-changing events with bad information. And then when you go do your tax return or you have a professional do it, you're like, well, wait a minute, I Googled this and it should have been okay, but you're looking at old data. So the best data that to go look for is at the IRS website, irs.gov. Make sure it says gov. And so when you go to the IRS website, there's a search bar and you can Google whatever you want to Google, but it's going to be tax jargon. It's going to be in the tax rules. And so if you look at other websites, look at the date. When was this last published? And if it was published in the last 6 months, great, use it. But take that information and take that information that you found, take it to your tax preparer and say, does this apply to me? Okay? And most of the time I'll be like, it could if you do XXX. That's what the website won't tell you to do because everybody has a different situation. You could have two people living right next to each other. They both have 2 kids. They're both married, but their tax situation will be different because one could have a spouse that has a business and the other one could have 2 spouses that are just with W-2 income. They're going to have different tax situations. They could have their kids at different age levels. So one is in preschool and the other one's in college. And the other would to have them in elementary school. So you're going to have different strategies there. So you can't always take what the neighbor has and say, I'm going to apply it to me and it's going to work just like with the neighbor. No. Everybody is different. And the tax preparer is going to be able to tell you that and really give you an estimate. Like right now, in about 2-3 weeks, I'll have my software for 2025. And so when I have that software for the year of 2024, I can actually take all your numbers, preliminary, go into your bank account, your business bank account, download all your income, take your last paycheck stub, take your income, drop it in there, and I could tell you exactly what your tax return might be at the end in April and say you're going to get a refund or you're close to a refund or you're going to owe money. And so the best time is to take your last pay stub of the year, drop it into the software that the tax preparer already has, and then get a good idea of what it is. And I guarantee you every single time when April comes around, they'll be like, remember I told you you're getting a refund? Here's your refund.
If Trump did changes, then
We'll know. We'll know
But
because
that
our
would
software will
be-
automatically be updated with those changes.
Oh.
And so you have to realize that if he did make changes, they usually can't be applied to 2024. They'll be applied in 2025. But this year in 2024, the IRS did make changes throughout the year. And those tax returns, the IRS will tell you, don't amend it, we'll fix it because we changed the rules on you. And so they'll modify the tax return.
Yeah.
Were you
But
going to ask that?
Usually that doesn't happen. But lately, it's a Western shootout with the
Yeah.
IRS. It's like whatever they want to do, they're going to do. And it's up to us, the professionals, to know that. And our software will constantly be updated with the IRS and tell us what the changes are coming so that you can communicate to that client. But
What I did want to ask is, what do you think is going to happen with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that was passed in 2017? It's supposed to expire at the end of 2025. Now that President Trump got reelected, do you think that they're going to make that permanent?
I don't know. And I don't even want to speculate because when Biden got elected, he was very upfront with everybody and says, I'm going to go back to the who was our president before Trump?
Obama.
I'm going to go back to the Obama days. I'm going to take the rules back to then, and we're going to, the Democratic method, and take us down there. And the country said, hell no, you won't, and Congress said that it's not a wise thing to do, and so he pretty much kept everything the way it is. And so
probably going to see more of
you
the
can
same.
have all your issues and stuff, but the one thing that when Trump was in office, the IRS really did concentrate on the middle class. And so I'm thinking that he's not going to change many things.
I'm glad you mentioned that because
Does concentrate mean in a good way?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's good.
one of my listeners wanted me to talk about this. The top 50% of all taxpayers paid 97.7% of all federal individual income taxes, with the bottom 50% paying the remaining 2.3%. So there's a philosophy out there that even if somebody doesn't make much money, they should pay something.
Yeah. And so this is when people come to me, they're like, oh, I'm going to come to you, Adam, because you get everybody refunds. And I don't want that image. I make sure that everybody is fair, that you get what you're supposed to get, no more, no less, and we play within the rules. And so when we play within the rules, then we can relax a little bit. We know that we've done things correctly and stuff like that. And so all I can say is if you owe money, what we do is we say, okay, based on your income, this is the percentage of what you owe. And most of the time, those percentages are like 5%. Why do you have a problem paying 5%? If your goal is to pay 0, you're in the wrong office. You're not going to do that. We're going to pay what's fair to the government and what's fair to you. So we're not going to do that. And so
I would think the majority of people you deal with are just super grateful, that the number is right, no matter what it is, that that's
and
the
so
correct number.
we're gonna
like that guy that you said was so happy,
And so and then we're worried. We're like, oh God, you owe $50,000
right.
or something
but they're
like that.
like, thank you.
Yeah, and so that's all we want to do. And every year we make it better, and then, oh, wow, my business is taking care of my family. Oh, that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Why do you get into business? You don't get into business so you could get another job. You get into business so it could take care of you and it could take care of your family.
When I first started, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you guys for joining me on Talk Law Radio. Hopefully we gave the listeners enough information to do some year-end tax planning.
We talked to
or maybe they know enough to go get more information from a qualified...
Seek a professional just to have a conversation.
To get some more detailed ideas based on your unique circumstances.
Correct.
Lexi says, thank you for joining us. She'd like to go for a walk now. Shannon, thank you as always.
Thank you.
I bet you didn't know we were going to talk about immigration. That was great.
Yeah.
So now you have somebody else that can help get the I-10.
Yeah. Get the I-10 and strategize with those individuals.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.